Working on. I need to start a file here.
So I told Nate about a phone call I had with Jeff Flaherty today. And walked him through the comfort quiz. Oh, I love this thing because this sort of falls right into place. Let me screenshot that.
What, this right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the curse is this actually isn't in the free quote yet. So this is a template, but it doesn't, there's no way to show this to the client right now, aside from turning your screen around while it's on this.
It's okay.
So we'll get there. Come on, honey. How's your house going, Tanner?
It's going good. I'm pretty much now I've been slowly moving stuff in as I've been finishing up the last few things. I got the energy monitor put in, and it looks like the panel's a complete cluster of wires going everywhere.
You mean from putting the monitor in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that Bergman gave me shit for that. But I look at it, dude, you got like 6 CTs.
Yeah.
I got 18. So I can take a third of mine out. We'll see how they look.
Yeah.
There's no great way to do it.
No. And it was cold out in the garage and I was ready to get done. So I was just slapping shit in. I'm like, screw it. If it works, it works.
Did it work?
Yeah.
All right. Looking for a presentation to start with. Yeah, well, this will work.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to AHR this year. So
that's fine. I wasn't really expecting you to.
Yeah. About all I was going to be able to do is ride up for one day, but I have other things that I really need to do rather than walk around at a AHR show.
I gotcha. My biggest reason for going is to see some friends I haven't seen in a decade. That's my biggest reason.
Yeah.
But showing my face there and doing a couple of things doesn't suck. So
yeah,
that'll be good. There's I'll at least talk to a few podcast hosts, and I want to go talk to a few OEMs, and I don't know, just show my face. So there's like 3 sessions on the IRA as well, and I want to go see those. I'm kind of curious what other people are saying, or if they're just pissed like me. So I definitely made Steve Pantano unhappy today. So
I didn't listen to that yet. There's a lot of other stuff.
So I did an interview earlier along with Steve Pantano, who was my co-author on 3H, but now is at Rewiring. And I said, the IRA, I'd actually prefer to have nothing with the way that it's structured. I didn't go deep into it, but he's like, well, I disagree. It was kind of funny I put him hard dissonance, but we'll see.
Hard to child, huh? I can't wait to see that what gets published.
Yeah, it'll be fun. All right.
So what, is he in heavy favor of the IRA or something?
No, he's a tit sucker.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah. So he works for Rewiring now as their head of research. And so Rewiring is the one that fundamentally pushed what's in the IRA for heat pumps. They're the ones. So I mean, they worked with a bunch of legislators, but they're the ones that pushed it. And then I talked to one of the legislators, the legislators' aide. I told you about that, the New Mexico the senator's office. And they're like, all right, blue sky, sky's the limit, do whatever you want. What would you do to make the IRA better? And I said, get rid of it. And her face fell, but I'm like, the structure's bad. Like we can't, if the building needs torn down, you don't fix it, you tear it down. I mean, there's a point where things just aren't salvageable, and most of the design there. So I've also written a little something trying to begin to put that out there. But anyway, let's see, vote report. That. And let's go look at the, just open another window. But we'll see. I don't know. Like I was not trying to be disagreeable today. I probably could have been more disagreeable. But I think I at least made some points. So Ted's got the recording. You can see what he thinks.
Yeah, which really, I mean, any changes is kind of more damage control of like, how do we make this less damaging?
Yeah. It's
not really how do you make this better? It's no, how do you make it not suck as bad?
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me, I remember hearing somebody telling a story for effect, but like, so imagine I make this just wonderful batch of chocolate cookies. Like I prepare all the ingredients perfectly. You know, I get the eggs to room temperature, which actually matters. And like all of these other little things. And then I add a quarter teaspoon of dog shit. Like you can't fix that. Like, I mean, at what points do you make a big enough batch to dilute that out? Like, would you still serve it to someone? No. It's bad. You got to throw it away. So, by the way, right now I checked how many products, and you might have seen it. I posted it in the group today. But how many products qualify for Energy Star 6.1, which is fundamentally what CEE Tier 1 is, which is what the federal credits pegged on. 5 products.
Is that just unitary or something?
Yeah, it's unitary based, but it's like EcoAir type stuff, where it's basically 2-stage, so it's not communicating.
Huh.
And like the sensible heat ratios on that stuff usually suck.
Yeah. So like the green speed and stuff didn't actually make it. Like
it's not showing yet.
Oh, so it's just those have been the ones that's qualified at the moment. There's a qualification process.
Yeah. The green speed should.
Well, my question is, does the 5-stage make it? That's the real.
I highly, highly doubt it.
So that's a massive fuck up.
Right? Yeah.
That is a massive fuck up. Because I mean, anything climate zone 4 and below, that's a great choice.
So it may for you, actually. It just won't for me. Because climate zone 5 and up has tougher cold climate standards.
Yeah.
You don't need quite as good of a unit for the South. So
yeah. That's what I mean. I figured probably climate zone 4 and below, or the bottom side of 4, especially 3 and below, would be a great fit. And so it's like that. You're cutting off such a massive market because you're trying to make this cookie cutter bullshit that, I mean, like the dude that I was talking to on Twitter today, it's like somebody that they clearly have zero tactical understanding and they think they understand the strategy. It's like, that's the level of competency of some of these people. And when you have people like that that's pushing things, it's like you're so stupid. You don't realize how stupid you sound. And the fact that, because I mean, this is,
I love you today, Tanner. You were great.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm like, locked. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, a 2-year-old with a little bit of sense could handle somebody this stupid of just, hey, don't go down the small rabbit holes that he wants to drag you into. Just pull him into places where he doesn't understand anything because he feels like he's super confident in anything he says. It's like, you're a complete moron. You have no idea what you're talking about. And the more you talk, the more you sound like Joe Biden. Continue.
But he pumps work down to negative 25 degrees Celsius. That's all that matters,
Yeah.
Tanner. Come on.
Yeah. First thing I thought was, okay, and 2 + 2 is 4. So what does this mean again for our conversation? Oh boy.
He was dumb. Dumb.
Yes.
Actually, that's the dumbest person I've met in a while.
Oh, so that's not the norm?
No, thankfully.
Okay. Well, that's good because I went on there and I'm like, I might just go ahead and delete Twitter. Like, Jesus.
No, we need you.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, we won't ask you too often. But yeah, it's good to be in there just so we can be piranhas every so often. It's good to have that strategy available to us when we need it. Just go in there and snap.
Yeah.
Have you guys, has everybody here watched Wednesday yet? The Netflix show?
Mm-mm.
It's quite good if you like that style of thing at all. I've always liked the Addams Family. I mean, my last name makes sense, but like I love Christina Ricci as Wednesday in the 90s, and she's actually in this as a teacher. But the opening scene is there's some jocks that are picking on Wednesday's little brother, and she's like, I'm the only one that gets to do that, and everybody's on the swim team, and she drops a bunch of piranhas into the pool. And that's the opening scene. So it's worth watching even just for the first couple of minutes. It's pretty funny. But having that strategy available to us is good.
Yeah. Plus, I kind of think I noticed how Twitter now has like a view counter or something of the tweets and stuff. So I thought that was kind of neat. So you can kind of see, the traffic of how many people's viewing those things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Blaming the shit out of Rewiring America got a lot of views.
Yeah.
It's awful. Have you seen there's a video about audience capture that came out a couple of months ago where the one they were talking about in particular was this guy who was just like a guy, and he started doing videos of him eating stuff, and he's gotten just progressively crazier, and now he's like 500 pounds. And just like he was a pretty normal guy, and now he's like totally wacky and demented. And it's like audience capture. And it's like, I feel that on Twitter. Because if I'm not wild, I don't get views. And it's like,
yeah.
So I try to be a mixture of cerebral and then scary, which ought to keep people interested in the account.
Just remind yourself of your role.
Define it for the moment here.
Like when you're on Twitter, don't feed your child. Keep your eye on the long-term objective.
Yeah.
And I know that modifies a little bit from time to time, but I think it's always been, to create better lives for people.
Yes.
With a thing that we know and they don't.
Yep. This is in here now. This wasn't there. Well, that's fantastic. But yeah, you're right, Ted. And I mean,
so if you're ever feeling pulled by ego or child, then just be like, okay, so what's the longer term objective, and what is my role in delivering that longer term objective? And it's not for short term Twitter buzz.
Yeah.
And Twitter is a drug, so recognize the effect of the drug. And I don't think you've ever really taken drugs, have you?
I tried weed twice. It did not go well.
Okay. So, and have you ever drunk much?
A couple of times, enough so to where it's like, I'm not doing that again. It's not worth it.
Okay. So there's nothing, you don't have any of these addictive personality traits
Just
that can be tapped into to help you understand how to recognize addiction so that you can have a chance at controlling it.
yeah.
And so remember that, because you're not like all of the examples I could use for you, you haven't done those things.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Goody two shoes.
Yeah.
But it probably really comes down to, do you get to the point to where you're clicking on Twitter and you're scrolling through without a clear reason why? It's just automatically. And I like, there's a guy, his name's Andrew Huberman. He has a podcast. He describes addiction as the narrowing of the things that bring you pleasure. And so if you slowly get to where this is like a central thing that you begin to do, or if you start seeing things slowly being cut out and this taking more of a role, in the amount of time you spend, that's the time to kind of have caution.
That's a good way to look at it. Well, I definitely like social media more than I should.
So the reason for social media is to increase reach.
Yep.
Reach equals influence. Part of being in it, being able to do influence, is making sure you don't go too bad cop.
Yeah.
So follow Elon, because obviously he's the best on the planet at Twitter.
Yeah, he's something.
And has anyone looked more into that Chat GPT anymore since Kevin kind of started a little discussion in Slack for a little bit about it?
Well, it's funny how they've handcuffed, they've biased the programming. There's a
YouTube. Put in
YouTube.
there, like, say something nice about Trump.
Yeah.
Well, I think kind of in defense of them, I don't know if it's as much of their trying to purposely censor it, or if it's more because like part of the database they pull from is going to be the internet, wiki, and things like that. And so if the platforms in which they are extracting their information from tends to be biased, well, then they are going to be biased without purpose, without intentions of doing so. And so I think that's kind of you're getting what the feel is of the majority of the internet when you get these types of responses from them. But
it's definitely a piece
but,
of it.
But what I think might be pretty interesting is that it's obviously going to be an open source API, and their goal is to be able to create a product for businesses and things like that. And so I was kind of reading up on it, and one of the offerings is what you'll be able to do is obviously right now, like there's certain areas where you can, like, it'll give you really good information, but there's some areas to where it just kind of gives you the, defaulto internet response. Well, you're going to have the ability. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't understand the backend programming enough, but there'll be a way in which you can basically teach the AI, hey, here's the way that I want you to think. Like you can make it something simple, like simplify. Let's say, like an example could be, okay, we're going to use it to write the comfort consult summaries for people. And so what you could do is then develop a data set of, hey, this is how, based on the inputs within the report, this is the type of summary that we want to see. And so then you go and you do the comfort consult and you fill out all of the information except for the summary. You add in the observations, you add in the HVAC, you add in the loads and blah, blah, blah. And then it can take that information and then put together a summary based on how you teach it to write summaries. And that's something I thought was, that whole mechanism would be, I don't know what that cost is going to be. I mean, if they're the only one that does that, they basically put themselves in a name their price scenario. But if it's something that's actually, you know, usable to the point of the data sets needed to do that isn't just needing like an exorbitant amount of data, or if it's not super expensive, there might be a lot of very beneficial uses for it in the future anyways. I mean, even if you had something as simplified as like a chat bot to like just ask questions about, you know, to where you can basically have somebody 24/7 to help you, like say through the onboarding process. You get hung up of like the hero guide mechanism. No, I don't really understand this. You can have a conversation with it that's already pre-taught, you know, of basically you can take the mindset, implant it into AI and let it, you know, basically run with it. Of course, there's going to be bumps in the road, but I mean, if it works as well, I've been playing with it quite a bit for a bunch of different things, but if it works as well as, you know, of giving the information you would like to, it would be super useful. But then again, like I said, it really comes down to what is that going to cost? That's kind of what I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Should have had this ready for us before now, but it was over. We're changing the theme on the candy house, unfortunately. Just isn't booking all that well. So we're changing it to Harry Potter theme. We've actually been watching the movies. So that's what I was doing. All right. So I want to run through, this is the free quote report as it stands. And comment on the things that we want to adjust about it.
I just put some in chat.
Mm-hmm.
First picture.
Great.
That'd be the next one. So right here, yeah, go back to the first one I sent. There you go. Can we not get the details of those moved up instead of completely isolated and separated? That's kind of annoying.
Yep. Copy.
And what if we adjusted the gradient of on the right side of the spectrum being a bright red and on the left side of the spectrum being more of a bright green?
Yeah, I can see that. Much
Yeah,
less.
those colors are lame.
Nope, these are good suggestions.
Damn, you're a master at this, Nate.
It's freaking PowerPoint. Tanner's
No,
not
all of this stuff, like,
it's just a really shitty tool for being able to do this. So I'm just gonna work with it.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, I just need functional for this purpose. Now, the one question here, Jeff, is some people may go write a freaking book. So should we put like a 2 or 3 line limit on it, something like that? Because what we have to keep in mind is really easy to cause pagination problems like we have with the other report. So just
I'm saying that the whole details you provided, how much space is that going to take up versus what you could put up there?
Yeah, probably going to be similar.
Yep. Because some stuff, you can shorten it up. But
what we can do, we can.
So are these pages going to be landscape? Is the other report landscape or?
No, it's portrait.
Okay, so
it's either, yeah, right.
Yeah, might be able to, but we've been designing it for portrait so that it prints out. If you want to do that.
Right. So is this going to be the same or no? Because of the columns that are needed for the equipment. So we should probably, when we revisit the other one, it needs to be landscape also.
The only reason I'm doing landscape here, Ted, is because the screen is. That's it.
Oh, well, so if you go down to 7, that's not a reason to do landscape?
No, because we actually need to stack this. I prefer to have all of the options in there.
Okay, so this is just for us right now.
Yeah, I'm screwing around.
Okay, gotcha. It's just to make it easier to have the conversation. It's not how it's going to be in the software.
Yeah, it's just what fits on the screen.
Gotcha.
Because, like, ideally, all of this will go on one page, although maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it is better to split it up. It may be. So you choose your system, and then you choose your install. Is the idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I was originally thinking of having all this on one page. But it is a lot on one page. And the other thing is a lot of people will probably be looking at this on the screen versus on a piece of paper. So let me ask you two, Tanner and Jeff, if you had your druthers, portrait or landscape?
Landscape. Don't care. I'll tell you, I don't care.
For the report as a whole, I mean, because you could squeeze that into portrait, no problem. And so I think for the other information, portrait would be better. It would just be this where you could have an argument for landscape. But I think I think there's not enough that if you squished it in, that I don't think it would be bad. But definitely having 2 separate pages for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And toggle on and off. It's all good. We got a couple things we need to toggle on and off. We'll go over as we keep going.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big list. Let's go get that. We'll go start a list. By the way, Comfort Quiz playlists are right here. So I did put these in here. I was glad to get those out of the way. Let's see, what is it?
Are we also going to put anything in that needs to be corrected on?
Yeah, because there's a bunch coming up. Pre-quote report.
It's not just the report; it's the data collecting portion.
Oh, okay. No, we can do that. Let's
That's fine. I just didn't know.
I'm game. I just want to get through the report first.
Yep.
Report and all right, so we want to change gradients. Let's go see if we can pick a color, shall we?
Are we going to make it the same on both the free quote report and the cover consult report?
Likely, yes. So I feel like I want kind of a friendly green. So kind of a
about.
What are you gonna say, Tanner?
Yeah, I think that's good. Kind of where you're at, not all the way against to the right, because then it kind of makes it real sharp in a bright contrast. I definitely think more of a softer green.
One ahead. Yeah, maybe somewhere in this ballpark. I feel like picking paint colors. We had to pick the paint color for Honeydukes, the candy shop, because we are not changing that damn kitchen. We painted the cabinets different color. That's it. We're done. Yeah, I lean a little bit aqua. So we're kind of headed towards the aqua side of things. I don't know if it shows up okay on your screen here or not. Ted, thoughts?
Don't we already have these colors in the comfort consult report? And don't we want to follow those, or do we want to not follow them?
Or do we want to change them? Just go to one that actually has shit in. Come on.
Tanner, when's the last one you did cover consult? How long ago? Or free quote?
A free quote?
Either or. Put one in the system.
Let's see. I did a free quote just like last week, but the last comfort consult was it was end of last year.
Well, that's not great. Yeah, that's bad. Oh, finally.
Want me to drop a report?
He got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, we're running the same. Oh, look, let's just use this spectrum.
Okay.
Although, oh, you know what? I think this is a picture that Rachel put together, where this is generated in the software.
Okay, then use the stuff generated in the software. That blue is obviously cold.
Well, but we were just talking about changing that color.
Okay. So if it's in the software, it'll be the same across the software?
Yeah.
Okay, so long as it's consistent, then then it's not that big of a deal. We can pick and choose whatever, right?
Well, on this one, on these 4 questions, would you not want this, just like you saw in the comfort console where it is blue to red? You don't want this green because green means go, and if they score low.
This is true too. Well,
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think that would kind of be a good thing because this is reflecting what they're telling us. If they're looking at it and if it's green, it's them telling us, hey, I have no problems. This house is
So we're going
great.
to change this right here in the comfort console then too?
I think so. I think more of a greenish.
I like how it differentiates from there to how leaky your house is.
Yeah.
On the comfort console, I like that separation.
I think that's better, like on the leakage, than because up top, it's like the colors they feel like they're just there, that there's not really a reason. There's not a reason that it's blue. There's not a reason that it's red. It's just there to look pretty. To where the leakage is actually showing you, when you get into the F range, it's like, oh, the color is actually saying this is bad. And the A+ is saying this is good. And so having that same type of correlation.
But I'm saying up top, right there, their goals are going to be similar to their 4 questions. It's not necessarily comparing it basically to the leakage of the home.
Yeah. Well, I think that can be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if their score is low, it's green. Not a problem.
Yeah, which I guess I was kind of thinking more of the 4 questions more so than the goals themselves. I guess the goals, I mean, sure, but I think the 4 questions definitely need to kind of, relay that.
I think these colors don't suck to work with in general.
Which maybe the goals section wouldn't really need to be that way. Because I guess in a way, if you have a goal, that means you're trying to accomplish it. And then maybe the blue to red, maybe that fits a little better because it's not as much it's good or it's bad. It's how important is this goal to me? If it's not red, well, then it's more like, yeah, it's a goal, but if we fix it, great. If we don't, whatever. To where when it's more towards the red, it's, indicates more, this is more of a severe problem. So maybe everything shouldn't be completely, the same in that regard.
We got it down here. Although, again, I think this is a graphic that was pulled in that Rachel did. See how these look different? Like they kind of copied here, but it just has a dot above and below where this has dots running through it. I think it's good to have the consistency in there. I lean pretty strong. Let's just let's run with these colors.
Okay.
It's also nice that Rachel already picked colors because she's good at picking colors.
Yeah.
It's such a funny tool to be used to using. But I have to build decks all the time, so it kind of makes sense. Constantly building slide decks. Okay, let's see. Chat. Where's your other one, Jeff? Would you want to make this universal, or you just want it to scale?
Well, I think scaling, but also if you put in the size that they have, shouldn't it go on the graph somewhere depending on what your range is that you put in?
Yeah.
Because right now it's like, okay, what's this graph? It's just showing this is the range of good to bad. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but
yeah, I hadn't really looked at this report at all, which is why we're doing it tonight. Because I looked at it a little bit and I'm like, this thing sucks. Let's go make a list. And
yeah, I just took a screenshot and then drew on it. And
oh, that's 100% okay. And then
I mean, that's how I talked to a homeowner about it earlier. This is what I did today.
Oh, nice. Oh, you actually had a free quote today?
No, I had a comfort console that went to a free quote.
Converted.
Oh.
Converted down. Yep. Converted back.
So looking at this, I'm a little confused.
Not about you, Ted.
How are we confused?
Why is there under heating system size? Why are there two? Why is there a big chart and a small chart?
The big chart is, I don't, it's a graphic showing you larger, not good, smaller, good, but it doesn't place what the current size equipment is, which is what I'm suggesting. The chart below it is an input range that we're supposed to put in on good to bad.
On where the load could be.
Where the load could be. And this is where I was talking to you earlier, Ted, that
Yes.
having the range is very, very, very irresponsible. Like you had mentioned. Because what are you supposed to put on that range? Do we coach to it towards the 0.25 to 1 or the 5 to 1 that we talked about? But how much responsibility are we taking, especially if you go into one like I did earlier that was 110, and I did that exact same range when I converted it to a free quote, and my range went from what you see on there of 31,000 to 66,000. I said, which system do you want? And I let her choose.
So in my mind, that range is something that we're going to need to have to provide for people in municipalities that they require a load calc. And that way, what we'll do is we will provide a range instead of a load calc. But I don't know why this is here in this case, unless it's the idea is that this is going to be something that people can turn on if they're going to do that. In which case I like it. I mean, I like the idea of what you did today, Jeff.
That's where I was confused on the A path of why this was in there, especially if we were talking about not doing ranges or anything if people didn't have to.
Right. Do we all agree that if a load calc is not required, we are not doing load calcs?
Yep.
Oh, definitely. What I originally put this in for, though, was just to kind of give an idea of where a house might be.
Okay, no, I mean,
Can you toggle on and off the smaller graph? That's your range for the people that have to show the range.
So for those that have to do a load calc, they can toggle on the small range and then
in the
input
range
what those are.
I think you guys are missing what Nate's saying. He put that in just sort of brainstorming very early. It didn't have any intention. It was unintentional that that's in there.
I don't mind that it's there because it says smaller, typically more comfortable. So it's showing, hey, if you do smaller, it is typically more comfortable, whereas larger is not. It's uncomfortable. I like showing that as a visual so people know. But toggling on the range would be that small bar or a small graph where you have to input that into the software. Yeah. So you could turn that off if I didn't want to do a load calc. Then I don't have to have anything on these. I just have the bar graphs that have the information.
So what I was trying to show, Jeff, is a guesstimate for a house. And this was just frankly pulling stuff out of my ass. This was not a load calc.
So we don't need any of this at all.
Well, no, I'm saying I'm trying to defend it. I actually like it.
I like it too.
Because you want to give people an idea of what might be appropriate for their house.
But what's appropriate?
You know, we could also do, as much as none of us like it, we could do square feet per ton. You know, 300 on the low and 1,000 on the high. Or well, vice versa, actually.
I wouldn't.
The idea.
So we're falling into the sort of traditional HVAC, which is I thought what we wanted to go away from.
Well, but the idea here is to give people an idea of how broad the range is that their house might fall in. We're trying to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt in this. Now, I'm not going to say this is the best way to do it, but we want to create that doubt. Is your house a 2.5 ton or 5 ton? I don't know.
But aren't you doing that with taking the bottom bar off, toggling it on and off? So say it was off, so it wasn't on this, and you kept what was there, where it says smaller, typically more comfortable, and you keep that graph or that chart, that bar.
How would you
don't have to put anything in there?
What would you say? These are typical sizes for this square footage of house? Typical sizes we see? I mean, I think you're going to slow down the process a shit ton here. These guys just want to sell a piece of equipment and leave. I don't give a fuck if these people get the right size. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Don't want to scare them. I want them to buy a piece of equipment so I can move on.
But I think you have to have this for people that have to put this in.
I don't want any of that stuff. I want this to be the best sales thing that these assholes who don't care what size the HVAC they put in will use. And this will make it the homeowner's fault that they got the wrong size. I'm not gonna, no capes allowed.
So I hear you.
That's because I turned it up to 11.
That wasn't 11. That was like 7.5, dude. Hell, that was 4.
I know.
But your point is well taken. That sorry,
let's just put the sizes that most people can have. We'll go from heating system size from either 40 or 60.
A 40K to 140K.
Or to 140. And this is where you are. And then on cooling system size, what? 1 to 5 tons?
1.5 to 5, yeah. But you have to be able to, for the people that have to do load calculations, they cannot, in those municipalities, cannot keep that range on every single one.
So the difference is this little nifty thing that Nate created for below it.
That's what I'm saying. I agree. We're saying the same thing.
We'll slide up and put bounds. within
We want that
the
to
range.
be scaled within the range. So I think we can change this range. Like 120K is the biggest heating system that's available, right?
And that way people who have 110 are going to be like, holy shit, I only got a 2,000 square foot house. Let's not make it judgmental or with intent to create fear. It's just educational.
Okay. So yeah, when I first came into this, it was fear.
Yeah, no.
I was looking for fun.
Yeah, no.
So what I'm saying is I like it on that top graph where you said smaller, typically more comfortable or whatever. I don't care. That's where you put your low on the bigger one, on the big one.
I wouldn't mind having that there, telling people that smaller is typically more comfortable, because that's not scaring. That's informational. If they read the chapter, they're going to see that.
Well, I agree. I like the bottom bar underneath it, though, for the people that have to. I think you have to have it for a broader scope of people.
No. So I'd like to see the bottom bar move into the top bar and be bounded. Like, this is the range of load calc I'm required to give you. So if you want something to the right or the left of that, even though you can get equipment that's bigger or smaller than this, the answer is no.
You're just saying combine them, but you have to, you combine them, you still put them where you put them, Nate?
Right. If you slid this up, if you slid the little one up and it's on the upper one, that's it.
But now you're dealing with two different colors. What are you going to do? How are you going to show that?
No. Just take the dots. Move the dots up.
Yeah, just the dots.
I don't think they can be dots. They have to be
not dots, the hash marks or arrows,
just something
or
whatever. Yeah. I'm saying visually, it has to be something. It just can't be another dot, because they're gonna be like, "What the fuck's this little blip dot right here?"
No, you'll be able to see it. Like, an old guy like me will be able to see it and be able to say, "Oh, there's a delineation."
Yep.
But it'll be right on the tonnage.
And if you don't put anything in there, Nate, it just doesn't fucking show up.
Yeah.
And that solves that problem where you don't have to not,
we
hey,
might have
put it in there, you don't put it in there.
We might have a checkbox. Heat loads required.
Well, and it's funny. I personally would kind of want to give people an idea of range. Be like, it's somewhere in here. What do you want? I don't have the information to tell you where.
Well, that's what I did earlier, and Ted was like
against
7.
that. I'm against.
Ted was at a 7 earlier.
I'm totally opposed to that.
Okay.
This is you're talking black belt shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so like,
because for the typical salesperson, you're not going to teach.
I don't want to encourage them to give advice, because their advice is more likely to be bad than good.
Yeah.
Does your heating load go down to 12? Are you thinking heat pump or mini split?
Yep.
Oh,
okay, that's fine. Okay.
I mean, actually, we could make that 9.
Nah, I keep it 12 for heating.
And for cooling,
or what do you?
9?
Go 9, yeah.
9.
Oh, I love this.
So this is good. I had no idea what was going to come out of it. So
now, do you think that we also put in the current size on this one, Ted?
I love your yellow hash mark.
Okay. And yeah, I just drew on that with yellow, whatever color. But yeah, if you did the current size, it'd be awesome. Because then that chart means something. It shows here's low, here's high. You have small, more comfortable, large, less comfortable. And then you have their current size, wherever that may be. And they'll be like, oh, shit, yeah. Huh. I guess I'll keep it.
Well,
I mean, the lady I had earlier was fucking smart. And she's like, yeah, the inspector said it. Your tech gets overheating. We've had nothing but problems with it overheating. I want fucking something smaller. Okay, what do you want? Here's your next 2 sizes down. She's like, let's do the smallest one. All right, cool.
Yeah. So people that have like 2 years of experience and they've actually switched from selling hybrids to heat pumps and they're comfortable selling heat pumps and they tracked all that shit, so qualified to make kind of on the fly, go ahead, decrease the size of your shit.
Yeah. Well, and that was, I still put it on her.
Well,
I
and
told
that's
her
the
to do
other
whatever
thing.
you want.
you also have the Sandler skills to give some guidance without taking any responsibility.
Yep.
We can't have these guys, we can't expect them to do that kind of stuff and not make colossal mistakes.
So Ted, thank you. We need to think more about the users. And like that.
Not just the users for this, it's got to be like white belts.
Yeah. Well, and that's the users.
Yeah.
So
Well, not even white belt.
lowest common denominator is what we're going.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, at this level, the people, a lot of people that's likely to be using this, they need to be in the position to where you basically tell them, hey, follow this process. Don't recommend shit. And if anything comes up, just only thing in your mind you should be thinking is reverse. If they say they want this size,
ranges.
why would you want that? Okay, so you're going to be good with that? Okay, so you're really confident? There is no, okay, yeah, we can do that. There'll be no problems there. They need to be like 0 statements said the entire time, only reverses the entire time. If it's not on this tablet, don't say it.
Just that's pulled from the report, Nate. The report ranges section.
Yeah, that's
that high-low.
This one right here, likely.
Yeah, yep, that one right there. It's actually under where it's currently setting. Is it's under report ranges.
Yes. So what I will do,
just so he knows exactly where to pull it from.
Yep. What was
and as long as no report ranges. So it's under quote data entry, and then the sub panel or subtask is report ranges.
What was the first couple of words there?
So it's under the free quote measurements, and then underneath that's report ranges. So you have to hit free quote measurements, go into that, and then go down to the bottom. It says report ranges, and that's where that pulls from currently.
Okay.
For the lower graph, or that lower bar, small bar.
Yep. Now is he? I'm wondering if he's going to come back and have this arrow here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing put on there, hopefully it just doesn't put anything on the chart. I guess we'll see.
Yep.
And doesn't cause an error or something, you know.
All right. If left blank, don't populate this arrow. I think that probably will make sense to him.
Do you need to notate it that you want it on the actual bar or above?
Don't populate likely size range. Don't populate likely size range.
Great.
I've been spending a lot of time thinking lately about making communication like that more clear, because I have a tendency to shorthand way too much. I rely on my brain reader, on my mind reader.
I'm going to change this color.
Oh yeah, make that red too. Make the arrow red too.
That's what I can select the damn thing. Doing that. And let's see. Oh. These arrows need to be darker. This way they're about the same as this.
Okay.
Let's change these arrows. Oh. Yeah, this is always a game.
It's actually your communication with him that got me thinking about this.
This was so challenging creating all of the illustrations for the book. That was so much work. So much work. Okay. That seems helpful. Let's look at this page real quick. Details you provided. Boy, I don't know that we need this hardly. What's the difference between a free quote and a comfort consult? I don't think we need that for this report because this is the report.
Not in the report. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Can I just put this in here? Yeah, this will work. You know what I can do? Here, I'll move it over here. All right, then we don't even need this one. Great. And I think we just We only need one of these, really. Don't need this other one. And then we're just going to remove this line because it is kind of confusing. We don't need the double.
Better make that arrow red.
Damn it, Jeff.
You'll leave it. Remember, your notes say specifically.
I'm messing with you. Come on. There we are. I'm just messing with you. I forget. I was playing your role the other day, Jeff, being finding the nitpicks and the grammar and the misspellings and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of funny to have the shoe on the other foot for a change. But I appreciate it. Ted's done a lot of work editing for me through the years. And a good editor is really, really nice.
Even a mediocre one.
Yep. Not that I'm calling you mediocre. So we will have so sometimes these are going to conflict. Do we maybe want to put likely size range underneath? So the current size is always on top?
Yes.
Right. They should conflict, actually, shouldn't they?
Well, but I mean, what if it, yep.
I mean, they should always, the current size.
What are you saying if the current size is within that range? Like, yeah.
Well, it's got like, let's think about it. When is it not going to be? Because if you're doing this without a blower door, you're going to have a huge range.
So it should be in there, but it's not always. So here is, it's just good to begin to shoot through this crap. Yeah, let's Control Z my way back out of it. So this and this arrow should go down here.
Ted earlier was saying it should be on the graph.
Oh, yeah, that could actually be on the graph, couldn't it? Could be right like that. Because now if you do current size, if you slide that under current size, it works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I like that a lot. What do you guys think?
I think that's good.
Yeah.
It's tidy.
Yeah. So
yes, better. Because if we're doing 0.5 to 5, there's a good chance their current equipment's going to fall within it. It's not like Comfort Consult where the current equipment's wouldn't fall within a reasonable range. I mean, if we do range sizing for a Comfort Consult, it's going to be a much smaller bar, right?
just as an example, there we are. So this would actually be a touch over. And so actually this should, let's just make this wider. Okay, what do you think of that?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that. Which this is kind of not exactly pertaining to what we're doing at the moment, but when there may need to be some notes for the salesperson for kind of, because we can already like anticipate certain interactions of, let's say like on the cooling side of this one. I mean, there's going to be homeowners that's going to go, so does that mean I should get a smaller unit? You know, there's going to be these like anticipatable questions.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking if someone's brand new, they're not even a white belt, you know, they've not even started in 2.0, they're just using this free quote software. They're going to want to answer that. And so having something to where they at least need to be told at least once of, hey, you're not giving recommendations. Yeah. Something to where it has a note or something that pops up and, you know, that'll either give them the option to look at potential, you know, what if something like this is said, where your mindset should be, or, you know, maybe something as simple as don't give recommendations in bold.
Well, that wouldn't be on the report. This is the report.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when they're filling out like the information and they're putting this in, and it's, you know, when it's at this stage, having something that says when you, or maybe even like a notes page before the actual report, before they present it, to where they can be told like, hey, you know, and it wouldn't even have to necessarily be like a list of, in this scenario, say this, but it would need to be, remember, you're not giving recommendations. You don't know. We're guessing here. And so
it's not going to pop up or populate unless they're in a municipality where they have to do it. So that being said, hopefully the people that are in the municipalities that should have to do it are better trained. Right?
Yeah, well, but they're also, I mean, I would imagine those people are still going to be in the scenario where if they are doing load calcs, they probably believe in them a little too much and they don't understand the deficiencies there. And so I just see that being a very slippery slope for trying to slip on that cap and saying, you know what, you probably should downsize.
Yeah. And this right here is where you need to do it. This right here where Nate is right now, where it says report ranges, where you start to put this in, this is where you put the fear of God in whoever's fucking putting this information in. It's got to be right here for the consultant, the salesperson.
Okay, so it's got to be in hints. The hints have to say, do not make recommendations.
Yeah. Just like Tanner said, right there. Yep.
No recommendations. It doesn't matter how confident you think you might be. Yeah. Absolutely no. In no scenario, you're not special, not happening. Exactly. No.
Oh, it's going to be 5 degrees tomorrow. 3.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're getting like 13 here. Approaching design of 11. Tanner, I still love your comment of you northerners keep that shit up there.
Yeah. We had it for just 3 days and I'm like, this is some bullshit.
It's no good. There's a reason I moved a little bit south. It really helped. What's that called? Report ranges hit. Right. It's funny, I had no idea what would come out of this tonight. So this is pretty interesting. I think the rest of this looks pretty good. Small, typically more comfortable, large, typically less comfortable. Down here, are you guys okay with the verbiage? Without further information, the industry standard is to change equipment out for the same size that exists now. This is likely to maintain current comfort levels or degrade them somewhat. Which fits that video, the line that you liked the other day, Ted. An accurate load calc to determine the right size equipment for your home is best done with prior energy use and interview and a blower door test. These are part of the HVAC 2.0 comfort consult, which we offer. I think this is reasonable. You guys good with that?
I like that.
Yep.
It feels very just the facts, ma'am. Okay, so duct pressure. Well, again, we want to get rid of this line down here. So we're going to pull this.
Well, I think on the duct pressure, I think there needs to be more than two colors. And I don't think there necessarily needs to be a gradient, but at least different shades of, green, yellow, red.
Yeah, like that. That's the one that needs to be there for duct pressure.
Well, the one in the video that you did,
that's just what I was thinking. Let me go find it. It's in this one or my other one?
And again, on that, I don't think that you need to have any sort of range personally. You just need to have, if they input it because they opt to test it, that's where it gets graphed, or that's where it gets put on the chart.
Yep.
Because what's a good range? You ask 100 people, they're going to say something different than what we have. Or do you still want to have a range on there?
No, I don't think we need a range. Just like we'll cross that bridge in a minute here. I think we put a question mark in unknown and put that on the report. And we may want to put, without knowing this, there is significant risk of early equipment failure. This is Ted, are you okay with fear, uncertainty, and doubt on duct pressure?
Oh, yeah. I want them to assume that responsibility, and the only way to get them to assume that responsibility is to hit them with it a few times. And I don't know that that's calling it fear, uncertainty, or doubt. I think it's education.
I think it's just more of this is information. How does this make you feel?
This is information. Do you want more information about this? It's $150. We can do a duct pressure test. It's only a 15-year commitment you're making. So,
I want to do 2 here. I'll scoot them over so I can put a note next to them.
I mean, I understand that making these decisions is a pain in the ass and you just want somebody to make them for you. But our answer to that is no. Because you're going to call us later and blame us. That's not, don't play that game.
Homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't play that game.
You would remember in living color.
So what would be the second one for?
Unknown.
Unknown as in?
We didn't test.
Okay, I see what you mean. To show whether or not, which one to show depending on whether or not there was a test performed or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Couldn't you just have the actual, you're just showing that to Chloe, right? Nate?
What do you mean?
You're just doing this to show Chloe?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're going to change what this is here to this. You know what?
You just do one and say the same thing we did on the others. Put this on here if someone inputs it.
I'll just show them two different ones. I still like doing that. Sorry.
I just know if we'd end up with two charts on the report.
Well, so I'm going to label them. I want to be able to move this around.
Hey, Tanner, next week we'll see two charts on the report. Damn it, you all could hear me.
Oh. That just means you double the doubt, isn't that right?
That's exactly it. Well done.
It's so questionable, we had to put it on there twice.
Had to make sure we keep asking you. Are you sure? Next question. Are you sure? Are you really sure?
How sure are you?
Yeah, something about like a rule of three or something. I don't know.
So it does.
The chart should be green all the way up to 1, though, according to some people.
Steve Rogers has entered the chat.
Funny.
Well, actually, the manufacturer shows data all the way up to 1.5 inches. Therefore, it has to be good.
It only shows it up to 1, but yes, exactly. It's good all the way up to 1.
Well, they only did up to 1 because they ran out of paper. See, they could have ran it all the way up to 1.5. So why stop at 1?
What were they thinking? What were they? I mean, I don't understand it. They made this device that they really want people to be excited about. How could they get that tiny little thing wrong and then leave it wrong?
They're probably one, I think he doesn't understand what he's even trying to say. And 2, he's probably worried about if you make it stringent, well, then you're going to find that most systems are terrible. And then you start trying to get people to run and use your equipment. And then when you use your equipment, you're having to show customers this and they're going, oh no, my system's bad. What do I got to do to fix it? You're going to have a lot of people like, if that's the case, I don't want to use it anymore. You know, I was wanting to test some stuff, but I don't want to have this conversation. That's the only thing that could logically make sense, as bad as it is.
Wow, that's really sort of scary.
What I find funny on that whole thing, and I've not said shit, but
I have.
Is don't that worry. I know you said enough for all of us. But what I find really fucked up on it is that they're like, oh, don't believe the blower performance chart. Don't believe the static pressure to cross-reference the blower performance chart to figure out that it's right. Use my tool because my tool is the only thing that can be right. But they also go off of what the blower performance chart shows up to 1 and say that it's good.
Yeah.
So you're saying I can't use something that you're saying it's good, but don't make me. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm confused now.
Yeah. That's what happens when you take an engineer who's really good at just one little small subset and then bloat his mind in his head as to thinking that he's an expert of a bunch of different things because of the people that surrounds him, and then hire on a fucking moron that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, but lean on him saying, oh, this is the guy with the experience, and then use those people to create an app.
Did we do this to this poor kid? Is that my fault?
Sorry, Tanner.
Tanner.
Give me your parents' address. I'm going to send them an apology.
You know what? Let's not fuck with Kaloy too much. Tanner was aggressive to begin with.
Yeah,
he just shows up on these meetings with guns in the background. I mean, if that doesn't scream aggressive, I don't know.
You guys are just, you're being too nice, trying to let me off the hook. I appreciate it. I see what you're doing. By the way, as you're doing that, Tanner, I put that YouTube link in there for you.
In where?
In the chat. Because he's pretty freaking funny.
Who's that?
Okay.
Let's see. Who is it? What's his name? Paul Joseph Watson. Create a poem admiring Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Create a poem admiring Joe Biden. Write a blog post about why Donald Trump is not a racist. Write a blog post about why Joe Biden is not a racist. By the way, the blog post about Joe Biden not being a racist has a shit ton of equivocation in there because there's overwhelming evidence in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that fucking guy is a racist. So, I mean, his own words.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he was probably lying to begin with anyways. So we really don't know what he is.
Oh, you're right. Right. I mean, if he didn't graduate top of his class, a lot of shit that he said is just sort of made up out of thin air. There's some pretty good implication though, you know.
It was funny.
I mean, even what he said about Obama.
Oh yeah. There was I can't remember which one it was, but on Rogan's podcast they were talking about Biden and how he was just well known back then as just being a massive liar. And I guess there was like he had that scandal of basically stealing like speech material. And so he said at the
bunch of speech material,
it was some
stories as if he actually did it. Like I was with Nelson Mandela and
yeah. They said, or Rogan said that there was some comedy club where they would have a night. They called it Joe Biden night. And so what everybody would do is they would go up and you would try to do other people's material. And that was just a thing they had going on for a long time. It was, that's what it's Biden night. I guess I'm going to do your material tonight.
Oh, that's fun. Write a poem about how great white people are. Write a poem about how great black people are.
Y'all are funny.
Tell me a joke about men. Tell me a joke about women. I mean, really crazy. And oh my gosh, here's the one. Meet some of the Chat GPT team. This is the telling one. Gab AI.
What does it say, Ted?
Oh, it's just these people are pretty clearly fucked up. They don't have like nose rings through their cheeks or anything, but pretty close.
Yeah, I kind of just imagined what I would imagine that to be, and I'm pretty sure I'm right.
All right, so take a look at my bottom one here. I'm being too harsh, and I need to make that not quite so harsh, I think. Current duct pressure unknown. Client assumes risk of early failure. That feels a little bit too strong. High risk of early failure? Or they will have signed off on this when they decline it. So
Client assumes any risk. I mean, you can make it this. You can make vague because hopefully they watch the duct pressure video.
Yeah.
Or just may or may not be risk of early failure.
I don't know if I'd say anything about failure because it's not just failure.
Yeah, that is true.
What if it's noisy? What if it uses more energy?
Yeah.
Ronnie was telling me about an energy complaint call that Lindsay tried to send him on today.
That's the one, Justin. That's the straw that broke the camel back. Just so you know,
that one.
He went out for a service call, said the duct pressure is too high. We did a conversion, not knowing what the fuck we did. The system's operating as it needs to and left. System's operating all within specs. There's no problem with the equipment.
People are comfortable.
Yeah, no comfort issues. They just have high electric bills.
But what's high?
You had propane. Exactly. What's high? You had propane before.
Yeah, your electric bill. You didn't think you thought that your propane cost was going to go away and your electricity cost would stay the same?
Yeah.
Who told you that? I mean, the other thing is, did the salesperson make some sort of assertion about energy prices? Why are we coming to see you about energy prices?
Yeah.
And did they say, this is the other thing, was this equipment sold or was it purchased?
Exactly.
I mean, send the fucking salesman back out there if you're not going to be able to get.
I like what you told Ronnie.
What was it I said?
You told him to have Lindsay ask the homeowner for all their propane usage and electrical usage, everything for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And just make her go chase fucking tails.
Well,
go
I
chase
think got to keep asking her questions. And then she'll come back and then he'll ask her another question. And then, like, because all of these questions, if she doesn't know to ask them already, what is she doing in this job?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I like it. I see what you did now, Nate. Sorry, I questioned you. Sorry, I questioned you, master.
You're forgiven. Go fuck yourself.
I'll take it.
The time will come when that'll get reversed, so it's all good. It's a fun part of working together, right?
Yeah. No offense here, so we're good. No offense taken. We're good.
Some of the Chat GPT team. Fun. Yeah, you're right. Should encourage my sister to go get a job.
That's nice that you call him your sister.
Doesn't have balls anymore, so.
Oh, Jesus. That's committed.
That's committed. Saving money to get the rest cut off.
The damage done to the credibility of AI by Chat GPT engineers building in political bias is irreparable.
Could be. Okay, so are you guys good with this? The way that I'm doing this?
I like it.
I like it too.
And I'm trying to think. I think I built this fucking graphic. It was a pain in the ass.
I bet you did. Man, it's beautiful. All of this shit is so, like, the videos. I'm so excited about that stuff. It was really fun talking to Flaherty today.
Did he watch the videos?
He had seen some of the videos, and he's like, you know, he's like the perfect candidate because there's enough there that intrigues him, that keeps him, makes it sticky for him.
Okay. He's relatively flexible too, which is good.
I think he'd like to get back out in the field. And so I think the idea of having a process like this is appealing to him.
He wants to get back in the field?
I think so.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's kind of cool that he's getting to the point where he's big enough and things are organized enough that he could do that.
I'll say.
And so who is he?
Jeff Flaherty. He's Wise Energy in Rochester. He's one of the later subscribers. Hasn't been to many meetings. And because he works in the New York program, HVAC20 has not been a good fit until recently. NYSERDA has kind of gone off the rails, and so now it's the Wild West again. But used to be, you know, you had to give free blower door tests and shit like that.
Mm.
Now they've done away with a blower door test requirement because, you know, if you use a blower door, the whole neighborhood's going to get COVID. Well, this is New York. COVID happens to people because of blower door tests.
Mm.
It's sort of like if you're over 5 foot tall in a restaurant, you can get COVID, but the second you sit down, you're safe.
That whole thing is so weird. It's hilarious.
You're not safe in New York. You can't, sitting down or standing up, you are.
Unless you're a midget.
Very few midgets are getting COVID. I wonder if it's because there are so few midgets.
Or they're just so short, you know, since like table height, they can't.
Nobody notices if they have COVID.
Turns out COVID is not very dense, so it just kind of floats up high.
Yeah, right. It's like humidity, right?
I don't know where the hell I put the original. I hate when I do that.
And so Jeff, I'm assuming he does HVAC and he does home performance.
Yeah.
As well.
So he started out as an envelope guy, and he does a lot of low income.
Okay, interesting.
And a lot of the low income stuff is like free. So it doesn't really have to be sold.
So he kind of rides on just local incentives, stuff like that.
So he's built this business using a lot of it has been using these programs and sort of staying flexible. The one thing these programs have taught contractors is flexibility. Like Lindsay would be out of her fucking mind because you got to be
rules constantly.
You got to be elastic.
Did we want to even want blower door on the free quote report?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because then again, you're assuming responsibility by putting in 2 numbers.
That, and it also kind of insinuates that you can get just a blower door test,
which is clearly sort of a problem if we're not or can be a problem if we're not careful about it. Based on Tim's recent experience.
Okay. I swear I saw something weird otherwise in here.
So
yeah,
I can see
air
black
leakage tested with blower door, possible system sizes. This doesn't make any damn sense, but we're just going to remove it so problem solved. That was one of the things that stood out to me when I looked at it. You were going to say, Ted?
Like the one Jeff was on today, he probably could have done a blower door and improved the conversation and made the sale. What do you think, Jeff?
I could have still did it. She paid for it. No pain, 2 years.
You could have done
her husband not there.
Right, but you could have done the blower door with the free quote.
Yeah.
And improved the free quote conversation.
Could have, but it went so well that it wouldn't have added any. I don't think it would not have added any more value, because one of the things that she said is every time we go to do something, I know something more about the house, which means I'm now more compliant when I go to sell my house to inform the next homeowner. And if you do any more testing or looking around my house, I'm afraid that I'm going to have that information given to that next homeowner.
Right. That's interesting.
That was her take on it. Coming from North Carolina and West Virginia, from where they lived, they said they got bit in a house in North Carolina when they moved, but the company took responsibility because they moved her. So she's like, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to get bit here.
Like, don't do lead testing in an older house. You're going to find lead, and then you have to disclose it.
Yeah. So something happened in North Carolina that she was telling me a little bit about. So she's like, I don't want to know any more about this house than I need to, other than to get by another 1.5 to 2 years, and we are gone. Okay. I'm cool with that.
But anyway, again, black belts can do, I think, a free quote, charge $100 for a blower door, and be in a better spot.
Yeah, especially if that's all you're doing on a free quote. And if you want to offer it, absolutely.
Yeah, like, hey, just let me throw this up. I'll pull a number. And
God, if they gave me some free quotes, I'd probably fucking do that.
If we're 1-to-1, if we're at 1-to-1, then we'll go like for like or smaller, or whatever. Like this whole thing that we're doing. Once guys are really good, they can freaking free form whatever they want. I mean, it's perfect for improv, right? Yeah. Improv all you want.
Yeah, you just have to be an Anderson Silva.
If
you're Anderson Silva, you can stick your chin out and bait people into coming at you, slip a punch and knock somebody out. But if you're a new guy, or you've been doing it for just a little bit of time, and you go try to be Anderson Silva, you're gonna get your fucking teeth knocked down your throat.
there's something about having the feedback loops that this process allows you to get, because you get to get feedback from the homeowner every so often, and you're like curious, and you're watching the thermostats, and you're watching the runtime, and you're like, wow, that 2,000 square foot house is only running on 2 tons and it's like 8 degrees. That kind of continuous feedback loop is going to inform the perspective of a lot of people, that just is going to make them so much more. It's like Kreskin. They're going to be Kreskin relative to the whole industry.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, well, I didn't get bit. That's your feedback loop? You didn't get bit?
Yeah. Call me pissed. Granted,
right.
They never want to.
So I must be underdog here to save the day. Here's the cape. Like, oh my God.
What's really funny is when someone has a feedback loop that's like that, and then they go try to point fingers at other people for having a feedback loop like that. Alex Meany.
Right.
Where you go up and you say, oh, your metric for doing good work is that you've never had somebody call and tell you, I've never had a problem. That's the excuse. And then give him 30 minutes. And then his justification for why his method is correct is, I've never had a problem. It's like, huh.
Right.
Interesting. What is your never had a problem? How is that better
so
than this
familiar.
other guy's?
We've always done it this way. Yeah, it was funny. There was a guy across the street working on a house that my architect client, Hallie Bowie, had designed. And I know Dale going back for years, and he can build a crazy tight house and do really good renovations. But I showed him an air quality monitor because he's like, well, so we're just going to do an ERV, and we're going to do this. And like, there's no duct work. It's just the ERV. And he totally cracked me up because he'd just been bitching about a builder that he had worked with that I have too. And I really like Jim, but Jim has some methods that could stand to be fixed. Like, he's the one whose daughter's house, the builder, only passed because they had 11 ceilings in the basement. Yeah,
a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, it was like a 6.9 HVAC20 and code is 7, and the only reason it was 6.9 is because the basement was 11 feet tall. It had enough volume in the house. If it had been a regular basement, it would have failed.
They're going to have plenty of fresh air in that house.
Yep. So Dale's whining about Jim and how Jim does all this stuff the old-fashioned way, and I'm like, so have you done any measurements with air quality monitors? No, I follow the science. And like, he's getting all pissed off and stuff, and I'm like, dude, in this case, I actually kind of am the science. Like, we've pushed new bounds here. And I'm just like, what was that about old guys not learning new tricks again? Remind me.
You see, the difference is he read it from a book that was dated earlier than the book that the other guy read. So that's the trick. You just find an updated book, within 10 years, you read it, and as long as you do what the book says, you're good.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was so funny because like, he was pissed. And I'm like, you got to get something like this. Like, I held up a Foobot, and I'm like, there's other stuff. You can use whatever, but you're going to learn stuff, and it's going to adjust things. Like, I was like, well, I designed it so there's 40 CFM going to the earth, or like 30 CFM going to the bedroom or something like that. I'm like, what if you need more? What are you going to do? Like, if you got an air handler, you stir that crap up. And you can average it out, even if you're not technically adding more fresh air. So anyway, it's just funny, seeing mindsets on stuff. But it's really useful to go back through this report now with kind of a different user in mind from what I first put together. Because I guess maybe my assumption of lowest common denominator was too generous. So we're going to back this off to dumb. Okay. I feel like this is pretty good. So just to review, free estimate report, I just changed it to where we're going to call it free quote report, because that's what I did in all the videos. That's what I called it. We're going to change the gradient colors for the 4 questions to match the green to red. That good?
Sounds good.
Made a note to move this arrow down just a little bit because it's touching, like it's a little too close, and I'm sure that he can just adjust that a couple pixels. Here's Jeff's thing.
I mean, is there any pushback on that, or is that just me being?
I like the idea. Which
I wonder
to
how
kind
it'll
of
look, but we'll see.
To help kind of like paginization and stuff with it, could you space out to where this part is going to take up the full amount of a page, and then just allot spaces in between it for, you know, X amount of what, you know, what's being moved up in between each question. And so then, like, if there was no extra information there, well, then you just have, you know, a certain amount of space. But if it is there, then you just fill up that space.
Yeah, I think that can work. Now, the one thing that's going to be weird is if they puke a whole bunch of details here, and then there's the chart underneath. I mean, do we want to put the details underneath the question?
Well, I like it right next to, you know, hot rooms, cold rooms, whatever. I would like it right there.
So I'll tell you what.
Just because it flows.
Mm-hmm. And this is why Control C this crap. I just want to show him what I'm thinking, what we're thinking.
So should this follow the quiz?
Well, this is a quiz.
No, I mean, what's the page for the quiz? Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, we need to change this to comfort quiz too. It's not the 4 questions in how I'm talking about it.
Parts of, let's like, see, I'm going to grab. This is what I mean by quiz. This is Jeff Flaherty's comfort quiz.
All right.
So just if you click on that, are we going to try and mimic these things for consistency?
Well, hang on a minute. I'll let you share screen in just a moment.
Are you talking about, Ted, instead of it saying like hot rooms, cold rooms?
I'm talking about the HVAC20 contact form.
Yeah.
That has the quiz on it.
Yeah, it's just taking it from that and putting it in there, and it just, to shorten it up, I think May has hot rooms, cold rooms.
Not a problem, big problem, more detail about summer issues, and then additional information.
You know what? We don't have anything underneath.
Like,
yeah, so the more detail that where you put right there, Ted. So if you scored a 8 or 7 on houses uncomfortable or dry in the winter, that more details is what's going to transfer over to that free estimate right there next to where it says hot rooms or cold rooms.
Right. And so my question is, don't we want the orientation of all of that to be in the same orientation as the quiz? Like the slider in the same place, the question to be this, like, instead of saying hot rooms, do we want the whole question? Or do we not want it?
I don't think we need the whole question.
Okay.
I'm trying to make this pretty and shorter.
Okay. That was all I needed to ask.
This. Yeah, with the report, we're trying to make things a little bit prettier in my mind. And a lot of that means simpler. The purpose of it in the other area but so do we want to do this not a problem and big problem? Because it is weird that there's no scale.
Yeah, and on this page, not a problem and big problem are actually on the same line. But yeah, it could be there. If that's consistent to not be on the same, to be below it as opposed to on the same line, I don't care.
Is it? Yeah, it's usually underneath. So
okay. Because in the quiz, it's not. In the quiz,
yeah.
Well, we've got the arrow pointing here, so we have the vertical space to work with. I think it's
and you want that to be the same font and everything as what you just were looking at, right?
Yeah.
So go back to one of those. Okay, that's fine.
Sorry to put you guys to sleep a little bit while I work on this. But I'm really happy to make this these changes here. It's getting late enough. I don't know that we want to dive into equipment templates. We could probably work on that Monday if y'all want to.
That sounds good.
It's getting latish. I don't really feel like diving into that. And we want to do it with enough energy to do a good job. But we can probably discuss some of it on Slack too, frankly. So originally I had too big of plans, like let's do different sizes and equipment types and stuff like that. And Jeff's like, why? And then I was like, shit, you're right.
Well, it's good that you go too far and then get reeled back rather than not go far enough. It's Liz, was it you that was saying the other day, never up, never in? We were watching some movie that talked about never up, never in. It's a golfer's term.
Haven't heard it.
It's really sort of a dick out thing. Like if you don't putt hard enough to go past the hole, there's a good chance you don't putt hard enough to get to the hole.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's better to putt a little bit too hard than a little bit too soft.
Can't make it if you don't get it there.
Can't sink it if it doesn't get to the hole.
Let's see. On heating and cooling sizes, do we want to use the green and the red as well? Stay consistent with the colors?
Yeah. You mean the blue?
No, green. We were talking about this earlier.
We can't. I don't really see it being as important on there because.
Yeah, no. I think blue is consistent in the other stuff too.
Well, it is, but is that what we want to do? So now we have a consistency issue where, which one is it?
Well, I don't really think it necessarily has to be consistent.
Okay.
Since they're all kind of conveying different types of things. So like the 4 questions, I mean, that's conveying good or bad. Yes. Static pressure is conveying good or bad, to where the sizing, small doesn't necessarily mean good, because if you got a big house, well, you're going to need a bigger unit. It's just the way it is. So it's conveying different things of information. So that's why I don't see it needing to be consistent.
Yeah. Oh, one other thought. Do we want to allow where you can change the bounds of this? What was it, Jeff? I think you had one where you had a big honking house and like they had 200,000 BTUs of unit, and like the arrow, you broke the system. It came out over here.
Yeah, what it does, it just makes it all your spaces in between too cluttered together. And then if you're still too high, it's way off to the side. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the second question would be, is that enough of an edge case? We say fuck it and roll.
Say fuck it and roll.
Great.
How many multi-system homes are out there that you're looking at 2 systems and replacing 2 at the same time on a free quote? Looking at the one that's there, here's what you have, here's what it could be on that size, that system.
Yep.
Yeah, you could do
the reports per system. You could do 2 reports.
You could do 2 reports, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you could totally do that. Just make sure it was something.
You could get screwed with a boiler, but we haven't heard of any of that happening.
Not super common.
I mean, my boiler's 240,000 BTU.
And that had trouble keeping up sometimes, Ted?
Oh, I got it turned down to 140 degrees.
Okay. So it's
modulating, yeah.
Yeah. I remember it's a mod. Because you had 2 and one of them died, and you were like, fuck it. We're just gonna run 1.
Yeah, and that did not work. I had to get extra tanks and create backup for the tanks. Because my boiler, that was a non-condensing boiler that started condensing. There were all kinds of fucking problems. But by having a indirect recovery, I was able to make it by. Oh, I remember what I did with the indirect is I ran boiler water through the indirect. So the indirect was always like 70 or 80 degrees. And then I put a mixing valve on the potable side. So that the water coming out, going into the on-demand water heater was always like 80 or 90. And so it only had to make a small step.
Okay.
Because the showers during the winter were a disaster, particularly if there were 2 showers. But the boiler the on-demand side of the boiler would keep up if it didn't have to make a big delta T. It was a bunch of clusterfuckery because I was such a cheapskate.
You know what? You learned a lot.
I learned a lot.
Okay. Well, let's run through this and then we'll approve it and ship to Calloy. How's that? Get this stuff fixed. So change the free quote report, change the gradients, colors of quiz. And no, that's not fitting. There we go. To match air leakage chart over here. So we're going to go green to red. Move this arrow down slightly so it doesn't touch the spectrum. Sound good? Anything else you see?
Sounds good.
All bad. It's all horrible. It's the worst ever.
Well done.
Start over. Just start over.
Very luxurious.
It's amazing. I love it. Can't wait.
Well, we'd like this to actually be useful, so that's good.
Yeah.
Pre-estimate reports. Let's see. Change 4 questions to comfort quiz. I have here. Combine scores with details, and then I show what that would look like here. 2 front bedrooms don't cool well. And actually, yes, I know it's on an angle. Shut up, Jeff.
I'm not even looking. I walked away. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it anymore.
Good. Don't look. It's going to bother you.
This is just for illustrations.
It's red. I won't pay attention to it.
This is not for Jeff's eyes.
Unless it ends up on the report.
Heating system size. All right. So, and then we're adding not a problem and big problem. So that's what this is going to end up adjusting to. Sound good? It was mainly little stuff. But I've got remove this line chart. So we're not even going to worry about this here. And then likely size range will be there if somebody fills it out, and it won't be if they don't.
Okay.
But then current size will get pointed to regardless.
So pretty much we'll have what the comfort consult report will end up being 4 or 5 pages long.
Well, this is all free quote.
Or free quote, that's what I meant, sorry. It's late.
It's not going to, so I mean, we've got this page here. So we have the quiz.
Yep.
I mean, it's
the equipment. Yep, that size. The duct pressure.
Yep.
And then you'll have your
this. And then we're getting rid of this. So it's going to be down to like probably 3.
Well, the 4th one will be you can toggle on or off that.
Yeah. No, I got
fourth
that.
and 4th and 5th, right? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, it'll be 5 pages.
Like it. Short, simple, sweet.
Seems like
very, very impactful with everything that we've got punched in those first 3 pages.
Yeah, here's your problems. You got big problems. Why the hell aren't you doing something else? Oh, at the bottom here, I had put on like their decision, get free estimate, ready to buy now, or schedule comfort consult. I don't know for sure if that's ideal, but
I think that's good to have there.
Okay. So we'll see.
So what's the action going to be when you get ready to buy now?
That would mean you're going to finish the quote right there.
Get free estimate emailed or email free estimate? Or
that might have to be something that's toggle. You can toggle it off if you would choose, because some people they're not going to be able to put together a quote there on the spot, and some will. So maybe giving the contractor the option to be able to offer that, to where it's either they either get the 3 options like here, or they get free estimate like we're going down, or comfort consult.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
So in other words, remove the buttons and just leave I think the buttons are good because they're sort of summarize what the next step is without having to read it.
Well, so you email this to a homeowner, you email this to a client, they get it, they read through it, they see the next step. You're assuming that they haven't already given the free estimate.
Yeah, I mean this report, this is a verbal conversation. I think. I don't know that it applies at all, because you're not going to send the report until you're basically ready to do the quote. So that's going to be part of the script.
Oh, so this might be not apply here.
Yeah.
It's just probably not going to be part of
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that will be part of the script. Did you need to make a decision right now, or do I have time to take this home and think about it?
And it currently is in the script. Yeah. It is in the script right now.
So
or do you want to change to a comfort consult? You're worried about your size, we're worried about duct pressure, whatever it might be.
So I know you're sending this to Kaloi, but is what's first in line will be fixing the questions of the free quote. Like the sections where you type in your answers, they're still not as short as the boxes aren't as short as we would want them.
Oh, technically that would happen first. So he needs to go through that, because that was from the last.
That's fine. I just didn't know where he was, right? I was just curious.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In the script, when you get to the end and you ask, do they want to quote now or do you want to quote later? Is there also a place where they say, oh, and by the way, do you want a comfort consult? And then they say no, and you say, just want to review that you can always get one of those in the future if you like.
So
By the way, Jeff, it looks like he's done. So this is January 19th. So that was the last one. And
they're still pretty big, just so you know.
He's done.
Hasn't been pushed through yet.
In QA, I doubt it's pushed yet.
Yeah.
But he's done it.
And we're going to talk tomorrow about having an additional step after QA.
Yeah, we're breaking too much shit when we push new versions.
So we're going to have a beta version where shit's tested, hopefully.
Yeah.
So it says here, it's time to take measurements of your equipment. Can you lead me to it? Then we have insert a leak to forms here. So he just took that to heart, Nate, right? Note, return to the kitchen table before leaving. Are you planning to make this decision right now? Or do I have the ability to send you my quote later? And then there's a spot to take a note. It doesn't ask again about the comfort console. We talked about not asking again there because we already asked multiple times before.
Okay. Okay.
So we asked earlier in the visit. Where is it? Just trying to find it.
Do you think it should be asked at the end?
No. I mean, at that point, they're probably just ready to make the damn decision. They're like, shut up, give me a quote, let's go. On most free quotes. But it says here, optional, free quote converts to console. Okay, let's finish collecting because you show the A path, B path video.
Okay.
That's their chance to make that once you're going through the rest of these. I think that's...
If you feel like it's asked enough that they're taking responsibility for not doing it, I'm good.
And it says again here, optional free quote. So this is halfway through. This is right before you actually finish when you start talking about watching the 6 videos and the duct pressure video and stuff.
Okay.
Did any of your comfort quiz scores change? Yes. Then you can convert. Then you can talk about the comfort console there too. And we have another optional thing that says, let's finish the information for now for the free quote, and then we'll schedule your next visit for the comfort console. So we've got 2 times during the visit that we're asking.
Okay.
Then you've asked them before. I don't think you need to hammer it after you've gotten measurements.
No, I'm just wondering if there's it should probably be asked after a pain opportunity occurs.
And that's where we have them, both of them currently after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like static pressure and like going through that report, there are a couple of potential pain opportunities, but.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where we hit them.
Okay.
A path, B path video, bring up pain, review quiz, bring up pain, see if things change, offer it again.
So let's let him push this, Jeff. But take a look at, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
He's got all of our changes in here. This is QA. So
can you scroll down?
Yep.
All the way to the bottom. Insert link here, the forms here. Okay, all right, it's still there. Top of your screen. Right there, you just went by it. Yeah. So it's still there. That's fine. I just and then yes, that looks better.
So let's let him push it, and then we'll revisit. I
was just curious where he was.
Yep. If we ask him now, I just have a feeling that it'll get screwed up. So
yeah. Yep.
We'll let him get it through. But that is funny. Yeah. This is a curse of literal. Welcome to working with people where English isn't their first language. I mean that could happen to one of us too if it's not being described. So all
I'm saying is for him not knowing shit about what we do,
he's done
what he's done. He's done a good job. No complaints. So thanks, Chloe, if he watches this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm thrilled. But the tips are now on top, and look how short the fields are.
I like it.
So if I take away hints, it's not that bad.
That's nice.
If you put hints in, it gets a little bit longish.
Videos are actually there. Damn, it looks good.
Yeah. And I like that he made the questions blue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this works.
Mucho better.
Yeah. So we're getting there, gents. And hang on, one last thought before we go.
He's going to read to us.
No, it's not a quote or anything. It's just I'm just making a to-do list where we're getting to the point where we're to punch list time on a path. So it's like, so let's look for the things that need to get done, and then we'll run through doing this sort of thing and get it done, or I'll do it, or whatever's involved. But some of the stuff like this, the free quote report. I'm really glad that we did this together, because I would have done something different. And then you all would have been like, well, no, but you're not solving for the lowest common denominator. Like, motherfucker. Now we have to do it again. So I'm glad that we did that. So adjust current free quote report, which is what we just did. Then we need to do equipment templates. And I don't know, like 3 might be adequate. Heat pump, hybrid, and package, I think might be enough to get people.
I've got 1 or 2 of those saved. I think I have the hybrid.
So screenshot that and put it in APath on Slack, will you?
Will do.
Because we want to kind of talk about that. One other thing that I think we should put in here is I want to offer ventilating dehumidifiers all the fucking time. Just have it on there
as a recommendation.
As a recommendation,
or an option.
Yeah. And you can delete it if you want, but I want it in there for us.
I like that.
So smiley faces, just so you know,
mm-hmm.
are still not there. Okay.
So that's the sort of stuff that we'll go through the next time around.
Because that's where I was stuck on finishing my template, just so you know.
Okay. Well, screenshot it anyway, and I can put that up. We can I'll put that on a list to Kaloy for Trello, and he'll work through it. Because I mean, look at this. I mean, all this stuff is built in here. All the stuff we went over last time, which is pretty sweet. Even if there's a couple of literal things. So equipment templates is in there. We need to add the quote to the free quote report as an optional thing. Like that's going to be turn on, turn off, because not everybody's going to want to do that. That's fine. The measurements that we take, we need to be able to turn that into a PDF for the install manager. Whoever's actually got to go figure out what to order. So that needs to happen. Let's see, adding quote to the client thing, that's in there. I need to do a landing page. And then a key thing is nobody gets notifications when a new client comes in. And the client should get a notification, and more stuff to go read. And then we need to get a notification as well, and probably multiple ways. I would say like setting it up to do text, if that's not too hard, would be good too. What do you guys think? Personally, I would rather have more than an email when a lead comes in. I want it to be as likely as possible to get my attention.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
And then allow it to be sent to multiple emails as well. So like it could go to the sales guy and the CSR, or the owner of the CSR and the sales guy, like whatever you want, you can put in who gets notified. But those are the pieces that I have right now.
Organizing main screen, home screen of clients based off of date ran or date scheduled.
Oh yeah, that's because it's
that's going to be important before APath starts going.
Yep.
I think.
So let's see.
Appointment set date or whatever, scheduled day.
Client dashboard by basically last visit.
Not last visit.
How did you want to organize it again?
Date scheduled. Like right now, every time I open one, it says that's the last updated. And I'm like, well, shit, that was 6 months ago. And now I got to. So if I try to go back and look at one to compare to something that I'm going to use from this report to that report, it just completely throws everything out of whack.
So you are looking for last on site, basically, right?
The scheduled, yeah.
Okay.
Date scheduled. So if you can separate by date scheduled or date ran or whatever.
Yeah.
That's more important than last updated. I don't give a shit about when I last updated it. It can be documented, but I don't need to have it come to the top every time I open it.
Okay. Yeah, and like one of the other things I originally had in mind was color coding them depending on like if it's been too long for something, turning them red, moving them up. But that's a whole other thing.
There's also duplication still occurring.
Okay.
Of contacts. I don't know exactly what's triggering it. I know Eric and Kaloy said they were going to look at it, but I don't know if they've been able to replicate it. But
I think they said they were in bug reports.
Okay.
I
know they said they were looking at it. I didn't know if they were able to replicate it, figure it out.
I think they said they replicated it. I don't know if they said they figured out what it was.
It happened again today. So if you open free quote and you open Comfort Console, it duplicates contact, and you can't delete one of the contacts. So it's saying it's send it to Sharon and Sharon Smith and Smith, or Sharon Smith and Sharon Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my best friends in college. They both had the last name Brown, so we call her Brown.
Well, that's how the reports are going out. So that's you envisioned this years ago. Good job.
So Laura Brown, got it. I think so the curse of all this stuff is it's like, well, we probably need to get the next release sent to figure out if it's fixed. I don't know. It's funny. It sounds like Nancy Pelosi. Well, we have to pass it so we can find out what's in the bill.
We got to pass the bill so we can find out what's in it.
We can't decipher it. Let somebody else do it after we pass it. Idiots.
Oh, this was super helpful, though, gents. Thank you. Really appreciate your hard work and dedication at just helping through all this. Really do. It's exciting to be getting this system pretty damn good. One last closing thought. It's kind of sort of a partner discussion, so I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. But Ted, Danelle Baird from Block Power reached out on Twitter today, and so they're hitting the wall in Ithaca. We predicted. So they were contracted to basically electrify all of Ithaca, New York. It's climate zone 6, and the houses are old as shit, and there's a lot of rentals. This is going to go well.
Well, they got another 7 years to get the other 95% of homes.
Or 7, whatever it is. Yeah, it's so he messaged me and said they're considering buying an HVAC company in that area.
Why?
Because they want to actually be able to drive it directly. So he's like, so what would it take to train 500 technicians? And I'm like, well, management has to be on board.
Drive what directly?
Well, it's kind of funny. Yeah, he's just going to get opportunities to change HVAC at the end of the day is what he's going to get if he buys an HVAC company.
That town's not like, he's got to get to 100% of replacement before he even begins to go beyond replacement.
Yep.
And how's he going to do that? Like, so, he hasn't first principled anything. He's just like a little child coming up with conclusions. Oh, well, I got to go do this and not thinking it through.
So I'm just putting it out there.
Okay.
Who knows what might come of that?
Oh, so he reached
by train.
What's that, Jeff?
I mean, what's he mean by train? What's that? Does that mean I gotta get someone would go train homeowners? Does that mean or actual technicians, so or what are we training them on?
A bunch of stuff that he needs to work through yet. But
did you offer him an hour?
No, I didn't yet. Actually, I should. So, in fact, maybe I think I'd rather do an hour with both of us, frankly.
Yeah. So ask him for twice the money.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
anyway, it's just it's curious that there's a lot of people that are beginning to sniff around. And I'm doing a webinar for.
There's no way he's going to be able to compete against Hal.
unless he buys Hal, which would be hilarious. I don't think he'd want to.
Yeah, but then he'll collapse a business that he doesn't know how to run.
Especially if you try to buy something and you're going to be the new owner that takes over, and you're going to come in and start immediately implementing these drastically different changes and telling a bunch of blue collar technicians, you're going to do it this way now.
We can't
that's
even
going to
get
go over really well.
HVAC20 in Jeff's business.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a challenge, but I mean, I said, hey, it's got management has to be bought in for this to work. So,
and that's going to require like some really high level leadership. Like it's beyond the technical at that point. You're trying to run that down the line all the way to the techs and the installers, and you're going to have to really change what they do. And that's going to require a big toll on the leadership. And if you're brand new, you don't have any leadership capital built up with your guys, good luck with that.
That's undoing so much.
This is not an easy lift, but I was just like, okay. So I mean, I'm
offer him the 2 hours, because that way it's a shit or get off the pot, and we don't have to spend any more time on it.
Yep. Just putting it out there, just making.
Yeah, no, that's great. I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'd love to hear how that conversation goes.
Well, we're
going
to
to record that just so I can hear Ted. I just want to hear hear Ted during that conversation.
Well, actually, you saw me with Lauren. So, I mean, Maddie.
Yeah.
So you know how I'll probably look.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So anyway, I just put that out there. I was just like, well, what do I do with this? But that's I need to pay money decision them. So, is where we're getting to. So I'm kind of just like pushing him away a little bit. Like, well, there's this, and then there's this, waiting for him to come back. And there's like a couple days or a week comes by, and then he slides back into DMs again. So,
dude, hire us for an hour. Or hire us on retainer.
Yeah. But next week I'm doing a webinar for Canary Media on electrification, which is good because I'm definitely the odd man out in this group. So there's someone who works for Donnell at Block Power, and then there's somebody from like New Buildings Institute. So it's kind of a curious mix, and her focus is heat pump water heaters. I'm like, huh? But yeah, whatever. So I'll run with it. I don't really have to prep much. But anyway, I just keep poking my head into some of this crap. So just know that crap's still going on, for better or for worse. And I'll shoot at IRA while I'm at it, I'm sure. So if you guys think of other stuff that we need to tackle as well that needs to go on the list, let me know. Actually, I need to throw that list I just read to you in my Trello for me. So any other things you find that need to be polished, let's get them on the list. So Jeff, I know you just gave me a couple and I didn't write them down yet. I'm sorry. We'll get this next release out, then we'll deal with them again.
Jeff, did you send the email?
No, not yet. I'm doing it now. I'm starting to write it up.
If you want to send it over to me before you send it. Probably best to text it, huh?
Text over to you.
However you want to do it. If you want to do it.
I think it's pretty sweet and straight to the point. Just copy it basically, and
oh, it's all good, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean it's not anything major.
No, I don't. I think the only thing I could think to add was, sorry, my answer was brief earlier. I've been busy. I've been busy until now.
Yeah, I will. Because I mean, tonight's Thursday night, just like I told her during Lindsay. It's
Yeah.
basketball night. Sorry, family.
Sorry, it's been busy until now, and it's like 10:48 p.m. and she'll see.
Yeah.
It's like, again, I'm busy as fuck.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Love it. Thank you, gents.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. Yep. Talk to you guys.
Tanner,
Good night, guys.
your thing. It looks good.
JT?
I like it.
Yeah. Well, that's just me being lazy.
Yeah, well, it's the hip thing these days, apparently. I'm trying to be hip, so
That's it. Gotta be hip.
I'm gonna give it another month. See if it actually looks like a beard.
Not always that great. It doesn't take me much to grow something, but
No.
but I don't like it. So,
Yeah. This is all that grows for me, so I guess this is all that'll.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Mine goes sort of like this here, not so much. This along here is okay, I guess. I don't know. I want to know what it looks like. That's mostly why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. Mine's just because I've got my sharpening stones at one place and my razor at another place, so I can't sharpen to actually shave. So
that's
here
funny.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
I don't know where half my shit is these days.
Hey, Tanner, click on that video. Before.
I did.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I've got it saved. I'll watch it.
All right. See you.
See ya.
Good night, guys.
Night, everybody.